My name is Big Time, going live. We're going to get right into the fuckery. We're going to have a big story covering Ralph Yarl on Friday with my co-host. We're not even going to touch that story yet. I'm leaving that alone because just like Micaiah Bryant, Jacob Blake, Daryl Brooks, just like Rittenhouse, anytime there's a certain narrative, if we sit back and you wait a little bit, more shit comes forward. So I'm not even going to touch that story yet. Today's video is about these are people who were killed potentially by other black people, and they didn't get a call from Joe Biden. Okay? So first, let's go to the video. This is the narrative being pushed right now, and then I'm going to present the hypocrisy. Sure, there's an ad. Bear with me, it's YouTube. I'm not even going to touch it. I'm just going to cover other shootings that have happened, other innocent black people that have been killed, or maybe other innocent people that have been killed potentially by blacks and they didn't get a call from Joe Biden. Okay? Black community feels threatened every day. Oh, by who, I wonder? Well, we'll show you by who.
WBZ News.
We are so excited and so happy and so relieved to know that your son has survived. Yes. Thank you so much. So often these stories don't end this way.
She's crying.
CBS Morning's Gayle King.
Gayle King was crying.
Holding back tears there after speaking with the mother of Ralph Yarl, the Kansas City teenager who was shot twice, allegedly because he accidentally rang the wrong doorbell. Now, Gayle says she was processing an emotion that so many black and brown Americans feel, the trauma of repeatedly seeing violence against people who are perceived as a threat simply because of the color of their skin.
Remember that. Perceived to be a threat simply by the color of their skin. This is the narrative they're being pushed. Deny the reality you see.
As WBZ's Mike Sullivan shows us, it is a reaction that reverberates in our communities.
When a black teenage boy can't even ring the wrong doorbell safely, what does this mean for the psyche of Black America?
The mental gymnastics that we may have to go through from day to day, leaving the house.
All it takes is spotting the headline to impact someone's mental health.
It can spark the feeling or the thoughts or the beliefs, we're still not safe, or I am not safe.
Crump. Any relation to Ben Crump, the race grifter?
Safe, or my community is not safe, no matter what.
Not safe from who? Who doesn't make your community safe, black woman?
I'm doing.
16-year-old Ralph Yarl was shot and wounded 5 days ago in Kansas City. He rang the wrong doorbell, looking to pick up his younger siblings. The homeowner firing through a glass door, striking him twice.
Again, I'm not touching this. Just like Jesse Smollett, Daryl Brooks, Jacob Blake, Kyle Rittenhouse. When you wait a little longer, I'm waiting a couple days. The story will change. I'm not even touching this. I'm just showing the fact that they're pushing the idea that you have nothing to be afraid of, right? Nothing to be afraid of, right?
They become desensitized to it.
Dr. Gayle Crump-Swaby is a mental health professional. She says stories like this impact the motivation of black youth.
Why should I even try any harder? Because there are people out there who don't think well of me.
These stories appear in the news all too often. Just this week, the Ohio Attorney General said there will be no charges against Akron police officers who shot and killed 25-year-old Jalen Walker. He was being pursued for a broken taillight. Police say he fired a shot from his car during the pursuit. He later ran from the vehicle. As police chased, he was fired upon, being struck more than 40 times.
I mean, if you open fire at the police, I don't know what to say, but I'm not touching that either. Now when someone gets out of a car and shoots at the police officers, now it's racist if the police fire back.
Every single time this happens, I just am immediately transported back.
Amber Henry's brother, DJ, was shot by police in Pleasantville, New York in 2010. The local 20-year-old was a Pace University football player and was out with his friends. A bar fight ensued. Henry wasn't involved, but was asked to move his car from a fire lane. He complied. That's when police claimed he sped toward an officer, forcing him to jump on the hood and shoot at him. His friends deny he was driving fast at all.
To think back and think about what he was thinking, you know, the moment.
I also like the fact that we have to use other stories, and we're only going to talk about these stories for about 30 seconds. Okay, so the main narrative is you don't understand this fear against Black people, right? Okay, so let me cover some of that. These are all stories that have occurred within the past week or so.
And we're following some breaking news, taking
Baltimore.
a live look at the intersection of Low and Colvin Streets in southeast Baltimore, where we're hearing reports of a shooting with multiple victims. Fox 45 News has reached out to police for more information on this incident, but we have yet to hear back. We'll keep you updated as we learn more about what happened at that scene. But you do see police crime tapes set up and police officers on the scene. Good evening, everybody. I'm Mary Bubala. Fox 45 News demanding accountability from city leaders after a 12-year-old boy was shot and killed in South Baltimore last night. That boy is the 9th child under the age of 18 murdered in Baltimore this year. He is one of 2 people killed in Baltimore this weekend. 3 other people were hurt in shootings. So far this April, Baltimore City has seen more than a murder a day. The deadly violence comes as Mayor Brandon Scott is set to deliver his State of the City address tomorrow.
Did you hear those statistics? A murder a day. It's April 19th. A 12-year-old was killed in Baltimore. Did you get a call from Joe Biden? Baltimore. Who's doing all the shooting in Baltimore? Next.
Kate, Mark, good morning. Yeah, the 16-year-old not able to survive those injuries suffered in the shooting. You have a couple other teens who were also injured in shootings right on the south side. The latest one where the 16-year-old died in happening near 37th and Wabash just before midnight last night. Police telling us that there was 2 teens just walking around the area when a group of 5 to 6 people approached them and fired shots. A 15-year-old, last listed in good condition here at the hospital, was shot in the foot. And the 16-year-old, again, died from a gunshot wound to his abdomen area. Now, just hours before that, another shooting happening near 31st Street Beach. We saw reports and video of large crowds all over the area, groups of people just taking over near that beach. That's where a 14-year-old was shot in the thigh. He's last listed in fair condition here at the hospital. Police couldn't tell us what exactly led up to that shooting. All we know is there were those large crowds there. Now, no one has been arrested in either of these shootings, but we're starting to see that violence among youth as the warm weather comes to Chicago. According to our count, that's...
All right, there. 15-year-old kid killed, 14 and 16-year-old shot. Did the 15-year-old kid get a call from Joe Biden? No. That was Chicago.
Kate, Mark, good morning. Yeah.
My mistake.
A 14-year-old girl who was shot and critically wounded in Austin last week has died from her injuries. And tonight, the community gathering to pay tribute.
WGN's Christine Flores is live on the west side with more. Christine?
Good evening. Family and friends gathered to remember 14-year-old Charity Johnson. It was a gathering filled with sadness and tears as the community hopes the person responsible for her death comes forward.
We thank you, Father God, for every...
So, Charity Johnston, was that her name? Charity Johnson? Charity Johnston? I think the name's important here.
For her death comes forward.
We thank you, Father God, for every person that's out here that's showing the love for Charity.
That was my best friend. And I don't know how I'm gonna live.
A best friend. That's my heart. I promised her when she was a kid, I would never leave you.
Charity Johnson's parents taking the mic to share a few words about their beloved daughter.
So no shooter in custody. The community's asking for someone to come forward. So context clues. Blacq? A Black person killed this girl? No one in custody. Did Joe Biden call her family? No.
Was now being remembered for her charisma and bright personality.
The point I'm trying to say is when Black people kill Black people, Biden doesn't care. The news doesn't. You're not important, Black people, unless a white person shoots you or a cop. Do you understand?
My heart is so overwhelmed. Charity was very loved, as y'all can see.
People gathered in the Austin neighborhood with balloons and posters. This after the teen was shot and a 50-year-old woman was stabbed following what police describe as an argument in the 10100 block of North Laurel last Monday.
Oh, an argument. How could an argument in the Black community lead to a 14-year-old girl getting killed and a 55-year-old woman getting stabbed? But I thought all Black kids were just, all astronauts and dentists. Not all.
After a week in the hospital in critical condition, Charity succumbed to her injuries yesterday.
This right here, this just shows me that my baby touched a lot of people's lives, and she will continue to touch a lot of people's lives.
Meanwhile, the search continues for the person responsible for.
Right, so no one in custody. And they'll never be punished. All right, and now what I'm calling the new white Amia Till.
Violently assaulted by a mob of teenagers over the weekend. They are sharing their experience.
There's the new Amia Till. She's alive. And what did her boyfriend do about it? I don't know.
Exclusively with Fox, the video.
Oh, why did an 82-year-old, 85-year-old man shoot your kids? This is why.
Of 20-year-old Ashley and 22-year-old DJ being attacked on the one.
Wow, what a peaceful community. Go fuck yourself.
100 block of North Wabash went viral. They say they had just come out of Nordstrom shortly after 8 p.m.
Wow, what a peaceful community. Why would anybody ever want to get away from you?
Saturday when they were surrounded.
We were just downtown in Chicago trying to shop, trying to get some food. And we were walking down the street, and there was a really big group of guys, a really big group of people.
Girls.
Yeah, guys and girls. And, DJ had my hand, and he was trying to lead me through the crowd of people. And they pushed him, they pushed me. And as soon as they pushed me, I told DJ, I said, hey, they just shoved me. And he asked them, he was like, yo, don't shove her, who shoved her? And as soon as he said that, everything went crazy. They said they're going to kill us.
Your community sucks. Wow. Well, at least Fox News is playing it. Thank you, Fox News. I appreciate that. What's her name? Ashley? Did she get a call from Joe Biden? Nope. Did you hear about this?
A 17-year-old is facing charges in the shooting of two teens, one of them fatally. This happened in the Bronx. Both of the victims in the April 10th shooting were also 17 years old. One of them died after being shot in the head at the Burke Avenue and White Plains Road subway station in the Allerton section. The other was shot in the hip and is expected to survive. The accused gunman is facing charges of murder, manslaughter, and criminal possession of a firearm.
A devastating loss.
So that was New York. And now we're going to go to Philly. Got to cover my hometown.
A devastating loss. She was a mother to an 11-year-old boy and a local teacher beloved by her students. And tonight the search is on for the man who killed her in a drive-through. I'm Jason Martinez.
I'm Sheba Russell. Rachel King's young son, family, and student.
No one in custody. Nobody knows anything. What do you think? Which community doesn't come forward to repeat on their criminals? Which community doesn't step forward and say, hey, we got to get away from these criminals. We got to step away from the people who drag us down. Which demographic defends their criminals?
They're all in mourning tonight and shock. Dawn, you spoke with Rachel's brother. He described her as vibrant and full of joy.
Sheba, he said that Rachel was just an absolutely wonderful person. He said she had the best laugh, was always the loudest in the room, was always extra, and gave the tightest hugs. He also said she was the first person he'd call about most things.
I think I might still be in shock, to be honest with you.
Alan King cannot believe his sister Rachel was fatally shot in a Dunkin' drive-thru in Cheltenham just after 7:30 Tuesday morning. Her 11-year-old son, Jalen, in the back.
Which group of people would get so pissed off that they would get out of the car and shoot somebody? Which group?
Seat of her car. Alan rushing to the scene, never imagining the 35-year-old wouldn't survive.
This is in Montgomery County. They have, it's not in Philadelphia. She'll be okay. I'll be able to see her. And I never saw my sister again.
Alan says they were extremely close, exactly 2.5 years apart.
Interesting. He says that.
And I never saw my sister.
Jalen in the back seat of her car. Alan rushing to the scene, never imagining the 35-year-old wouldn't survive.
This is in Montgomery County. They have, it's not in Philadelphia. She'll be
Oh, what does that mean? It's not in Philadelphia. What does that mean? So there's less of you? Oh, so it's safer. Is that what you're saying?
okay. I'll be able to see her. And I never saw my sister again.
Alan says they were extremely close, exactly 2.5 years apart.
She just loved life. She loved living. Like, she would go outside and sit in the grass and just be happy because she's in the grass.
Alan says she was also an incredible mom.
Single mothers and little boys, they have a very close relationship. And they were best friends. Like,
Yeah, oh, because there's no father.
that was his best friend.
He says Rachel would do anything for Jalen, including getting him a dog, even though she was afraid of them growing up. Rachel posting on Instagram a shout out from Fox 29 host Richard Curtis on the classroom while in the audience cheering on her school back in 2020.
Huge shout out right now. And you know who that's to? My man Jalen. What up, second grader, the coolest one in the books. Yes! Hey, study, dude. She's awesome. Make sure you study.
Did Joe Biden call her brother? No. Did Joe Biden call this guy? No one in custody. Who do you think? Which community would get so mad over shooting somebody? What percentage who do you think shot his sister? I know someone will come forward and say, oh, big time, but that white dude shot those two people coming out of the driveway. Yeah, and he should go to jail too. Okay? And I got one more story of people Joe Biden didn't call because I'm so fucking sick of this. One more story. This is right out of Kansas City. 18-year-old woman identified as the victim of 48th Street homicide. Police investigating a deadly shooting on East 48th Street. 18-year-old woman, Zamiyana Williams. They heard police responded to a 911 hang-up around 3:30 a.m. When they arrived, they found her, and she died from her injuries a little while later. And just to give a picture, just trying to be fair here. And this is a short video. This is just, a couple seconds. Here she is. This woman was killed in Kansas City on April 8th. 18. No one knows. No one in custody yet. Who killed her? No one's going to say anything. Did her family get a call from Biden? No. Now, I'm going to cover this topic in a little more detail on Friday with my co-host. This was just going to be a quick video. I just wanted to show some stories of black kids being black kids and just the denial of the violence in their community. None of those people got a call from Biden. Not the mom in Philly, to the teens who died on the subway in New York, to the 14-year-old girl who was killed in Austin, to the 15-year-old who was killed in Chicago, or the white girl who was beat up by all the teens in Chicago. None of those people got a call from Biden, okay? We're going to come back to this on Friday on Big Time. That's news to me.